Hello, everybody. My name is Eli Hollingsworth, and welcome back to Against the Current, The Chosen YouTube channel / podcast, where today we're going to be discussing The Chosen Season 3 finale, Episodes 7 and 8. Here are my thoughts on these two episodes, the final two episodes of Season 3, The Chosen's biggest season yet. And no spoilers, no nothing that hasn't been shown in trailers or in marketing in any way. I will not be spoiling the big twist here. So don't worry about that if you haven't seen the episodes yet. Then when they come to the app on this Sunday and on the following Tuesday, then you will be able to come to my spoiler review, which will be on my podcast exclusively, linked down below in the description. But before we begin, let's roll that intro. Alright, so this is an experience that you have to see in the theater. I've talked so much before on the podcast. We've talked about it with episodes 1 and 2. Talked about it with anything else that's been released in theaters. The theater experience is something that needs to be warranted. You aren't just given the theater experience. It's not something that any random production off the street can just say, hey, we're going to release our thing in theaters, and it just boom, it's the theater experience. It has to be cinematic enough and big enough to warrant itself going to the theaters, and The Chosen more than warrants itself going to the theaters. Episodes 7 and 8 are truly the most cinematic, one of those cinematic experiences I've ever experienced. I can't even speak because I'm so excited about this. It's just truly one of the most cinematic experiences I've ever just been a part of in the theater whatsoever. It is phenomenal. It is perfect. I have no complaints about it. I've had some complaints about the show before, but there's nothing to complain about with these two episodes. Both are absolutely insane, and just I haven't cried. I haven't laughed this much since I don't know. Saw Avengers Endgame in theaters. It's Endgame. It's bigger than Endgame. It makes Avengers Endgame look like Ant-Man. It is, if speaking in Marvel terms, but it is so big. That's just the word for it. It's big. It's huge. The scale, the scope, the size, the emotion, the storytelling. It's all just big. It's huge. It's phenomenal, especially in episode 8. The last couple of scenes, mind-blowingly huge that they were able to pull something like this off. It's crazy. It's just I haven't been able to stop smiling for the past I walked out of the theater like an hour ago. I haven't been able to stop smiling since I saw the episodes. It's one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. Now, my theater was not packed, but the energy was there, and this is an experience that's meant to be like this big, oh, so many people are going to see The Chosen. We're not trying to break records again. This is just for the fans that have been keeping up with the show until this point. But to just be there with other Chosen fans who were also very invested in this experience, and to experience it with other people, again, something I always cherish, but here it's even more so because the characters, there's some very satisfying resolutions, definitely by far the best finale The Chosen's ever had in its entire existence. Best probably set of episodes. The last episode, I mean, there's a reason, once you see the episodes, there's a reason why you can see why maybe I liked the last episode so much. Best episode they've ever done. I love it so much. These two episodes, just so phenomenal, and there's not enough that could be said or put into words ever about how amazing these are. I don't know how human beings could possibly create something like this. This is the same mankind that also gave us New Coke, and now we're getting The Chosen season 3 episode 7 and 8, and it's just how are the two even in the same universe? It is absolutely amazing. And there's some really satisfying resolutions. All of these plot lines that's been building up and being followed through, and just these hard emotional plot lines where people are like, I don't know, why is this happening? This is unpleasant to watch. We're watching our characters not be doing the right things. They're all coming to a head. They're all coming to a close, and they're all getting resolved in this episode. And it's in the most satisfying way that it could have possibly been, just some more satisfying than I could have possibly imagined. It's everything that I hoped it would be and more. And just the music, the music in this episode, in these two episodes, absolutely phenomenal. Like everything else in this episode, the acting, the emotion from the characters, the actors just nail it. They're all completely dialed in. I mean, you can tell they're all just ready to go into this finale with their their skill sets and knowing their characters and completely the mindsets. Again, we established it back in the beginning of season 3, but they all are in their headspace. They know how their character operates, how their character thinks, and how their character reacts to certain things. So they all nail it. And just there's some really big emotional scenes in these 2 episodes, and they nail all of the scenes. It's all perfect. And of course, you have the feeding of the 5,000, which is in this experience as well. I have trouble calling it a TV show or 2 episodes of a television series, because that's not what it is. It's an experience. It's something that you have to like. Oh, it's so amazing. It's so good. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen these 2 episodes in theaters, you have to see them. You have to. If you've seen a single episode of The Chosen, you have to watch season 3, episodes 7 and 8, because they are the biggest the show's ever seen, and they're the best the show has ever seen. I didn't even think this was possible for a show like this. This is revolutionary. And of course, again, you have the feeding of the 5,000, which is the biggest scene The Chosen's ever done. Like the biggest scenes television has ever done. 5,000 people. Again, I was one. 5,000 people all gathered together as extras on the scene, most knowing that they're not going to be on camera, most knowing that they're not going to be seen, most knowing that nobody's going to know who they are or what they've done, or I guess they will know what they've done, but just to be there to support this show and to see it finally on the big screen is just an unforgettable experience. It is an unforgettable experience. It's so amazing. It is phenomenal. It is there's not enough words to describe how amazing The Chosen season 3, episodes 7 and 8 are. Now, I went to the episodes, and everybody's always saying, it's big, it's phenomenal, it's huge, it's super cinematic, and I was like, how cinematic can it be? How big can it be? How I mean, like The Chosen, I obviously think The Chosen is a phenomenal show, but I'm like, for the Bible show, how big can it really, how cinematic can it really be? And it really is cinematic. My face has been completely melted off. There's not even a skull or a skeleton here. It's all just, it's like the final scene of Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, just my face just completely melted away. It is fantastic. And, again, it's a Bible show. So we've read the book. We know what's going to happen. We know these storylines that are coming up, and still the big twist that they've been marketing really is a super crazy reveal that this whole season has been mounting to this. And it's just this giant scene of payoff that just really digs into this, and it's crazy. It's frying my brain. It's too much for me to comprehend, too much for me to handle as a human being. Emotionally, it is just the most amazing thing I've ever seen, ever in my life. The best thing I ever will see in my entire life. And we have the big scenes, right? We have these big, just gigantic moments that happen. Super cinematic, super awesome, super everything. But we also have these smaller moments. We have these more intimate scenes with certain characters, smaller resolutions to subplots and other storylines that are happening that kind of get resolved, and those scenes are nailed as well. It's not always about the biggest things, and these big scenes work so well because all of the small story moments have always been there, guiding it along, building it up, setting up this thing. And any sort of criticism that I've ever had with The Chosen, I don't even care about right now, because these 2 episodes are just so amazing and so brilliant. And there's definitely a lot more to talk about in the spoiler podcast review of these 2 episodes, but we'll save that for another day. But just so awesome. I've said, I'm just going to keep repeating myself if I go on. I'm just going to keep repeating myself if I go on for any longer about these episodes, because they're just, they're beautiful. They're amazing. Again, cinematography, also phenomenal. Amazing. Super good. And it's incredible. So I highly recommend going to see it. And that'll be it for today's video. So I hope you enjoyed my spoiler-free reaction to The Chosen. Since I can't mention any specifics, it's amazing. So if you haven't subscribed to Against the Current, The Chosen podcast YouTube channel, link to my podcast is down below in the description if you want to go listen to my podcast, and you can hear my spoiler thoughts on both episode 7 and episode 8 of season 3. And soon, next Wednesday, is when my interview with Dallas Jenkins, the man himself, is going to be. We're going to be talking spoilers about this episode. We're going to be talking about the big twist and why it was so awesome and so amazing. So be sure to stay tuned for that and don't miss that. I will post it on my podcast, but then I'll post little snippets on YouTube, and you can listen to the full thing on my podcast episode when it drops on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And you're going to want to subscribe to Against the Current, The Chosen YouTube channel. Click that notification bell so you can be notified when that video or little snippets of it drop here on the YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video.
I was one way